Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our ICE Region team call, and welcome to our Crossline consultants and our Arbonne family as a whole. Bienvenido. I'm so excited to be on this call to learn from so many of the wonderful leaders in Arbonne and how gracious they are, especially for our current speaker today, Esmeralda Saldana. And she is an amazing woman. I had the pleasure of meeting this beautiful woman face-to-face at our ALMA meeting in Puerto Rico. And if you haven't attended an ALMA, you need to make sure that you go to the nearest one next time they are in your town. But Esme is an amazing woman. She's Mexican-American, and she is first-generation college graduate for her family. And she is a busy woman. She's married with 4 young children, and she first heard about Arbonne back in the day working in a salon in Orange County, California. And from that moment, she tried the RE9, and she was absolutely hooked, as we all are, right? And Esmeralda has experienced tremendous growth, especially in the Latino community, and she has the largest Latino team in Arbonne, and she has the very first Puerto Rican regional vice president, who I also consider my amiga in Puerto Rico, Maite Calabosa. I have to pronounce that right. Anyway, she has promoted 3 regional vice presidents and has currently 2 more in qualification. And this is going to be just her 8th year in Arbonne, you guys. And she is a brand new national vice president. This is her very first year as a national vice president. But, you know, all of those accolades are all well and good. But what I know about Esme is she has a gigantic heart. And when the horrible hurricanes hit Puerto Rico, she rallied, you guys, and it makes me cry thinking about what she did to rally all of Arbonne to support her team in Puerto Rico, but also to support Puerto Rico as a whole. And it got me fired up. I was inspired by her. I reached out to her to see how I can help. And sure enough, you know, despite all of the hurdles that Maite had to jump through, she's a regional vice president, and that is in large part due to Esme's leadership. So I'm so thankful for you, Esmeralda Saldana. I love saying that name. And you are going to hear some great pearls from her. You're going to be inspired by her. And with the fastest growing market in the world, she's going to show us how to tap into that. So Esme, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. You're like my first talk of the day, so my voice, I think, will get better with the morning. It's a little early over here, not too early, and I'm surprised to see some of my team on here. Thank you. I see my VP on here. Good morning, Monica. So yeah, I guess I'll start a little bit with my story, and then I'll get into some fun facts about the Latino GDP and how we can tap into that market. So I started back in 2011, actually July 11th, 2011. So it's coming at my 8th anniversary. And I was working in a salon. I was working in 2 salons, and I owned 1 salon. So I was super, super busy. And a little bit more of a background is I grew up in a salon. My mom's had her own salon since I was a kid, and she still works as a hairdresser, believe it or not. She'll be 78 next month. She looks super young though. But you know, hairdressing is one of those businesses that, well, if you're an entrepreneur, you got to love it, first of all. But second, you can't really retire unless you have a really awesome game plan, because we don't have vacation, time off, sick leave, retirement, all that stuff we have to fund ourselves. And we never get paid unless there's someone sitting in our chair or in our chairs. So it's, as much as it is fun and lovely and creative, it can also be really hard. And this is why my mom's still working. You know, it's tough. So I think when I was a hairdresser, well, I know when I was a hairdresser, I really kind of looked at my days and thought, my goodness, is my life going to be like this forever? Am I going to work like 60, 70 hours a week forever? And I only had 1 little boy at a time. I was recently married. And I was getting frustrated at the fact that I had this college degree, that I was working my butt off, and that I was trading time for money like every single minute. And I just wanted more. I didn't know what it was, but I want to be able to contribute to the household while still being a good and present mom. Like I said, I grew up in a hairstylist home, and unfortunately my mom, she was single and she couldn't go to any of my performances in drill team or dance team or any of the accolades, or assemblies at school. Like she couldn't go to anything because she was always working, but she had to work for us. So I didn't want to do that. And then a lady by the name Linda Davy came to me and introduced me to Arbonne. She was one of my clients. And like most people, I think like 99.9% of people always say no at the beginning, or like, heck no. But I was super tainted. So if you're going to go up to anyone, Esme was not the perfect person to go up to because I was so tainted. My mom had done at least 7 or 8 network marketing companies in her time. All the popular ones that you know of, at least the very popular ones for the Latino community, like Shackley and Jafra and Tupperware and Princess House and Mary Kay. And she had done all those, and we weren't wealthy. We weren't healthy and we weren't wealthy. So to me, I just knew that was a business concept that just didn't work unless you wanted a lot of boxes in your house full of product you never sold and a lot of weird people hanging out once a week. So for me, it was like, that's just not smart business. I knew business, so I thought, so when she introduced me to the actual concept of the business, I knew about it. I said, no, thank you. But I was open to trying the product because I really loved the ingredient policy. I was looking for anti-aging. So I tried the anti-aging. I loved it. And I jumped in just for the discount. Okay. So that's kind of where it all started. So fast forward, obviously everything changed, everything evolved. This is why, and I'll just put this as a tip, I don't force people to become consultant on my team ever. I encourage them to become a preferred client to try the product, especially for the Latino community. The last thing you want to come off as is pushing them to do something that they're not ready for. I think that's for everybody, but trust is so big. And within the Latino community, I really feel, and I know it's a fact, I read a lot of articles from Forbes that they have great articles, by the way, on the Latino GDP, but Latinos are very loyal to brands. They're super loyal to their brands. So to get them to stop buying their brands, you really have to give them something of value. Like you have to show them why it's valuable. On top of it being, why is it a good price? Okay, because they love to shop for good prices. They love bargains. They love, I should say, because I love it too. We love freebies. So you really have to show them like, what's the value? Like, why should I switch over? So I think that was my first hurdle on top of what the cost when I started my Arbonne business. Because for those of you who don't know, I want to say like 98% of my business is Latino. And I think a good 70% is Mexican American. And maybe the other 30% or a little bit more is Puerto Rican, which by the way are the top 2 largest Latino groups in all of Puerto Rico are Mexicans and Puerto Ricans. And then of course there's a bunch of other ones, right? We're all over. So I really had to figure out like, how do I get this hurdle of the cost and the loyalty thing? So both were easily like talked about when I talked about value. So when I went into a home and did a demonstration, I always spoke to the woman more than anything. Because even though there's this patriarchy in the Latino community, it's really the woman in the home that makes the decisions for the shopping. She is the one that decides what's best for her family, even though sometimes she might put herself second. Not all the time, but sometimes they put themselves seconds to everybody else. They are the number one person that makes decisions. And in Forbes magazines, and one of the articles I was reading just yesterday to kind of refreshen, they say 87% of all Latino households are their shopping decisions are made by the mom or a woman in the house. So that's important to know, that they pretty much have the same. So when I did my presentations, I talk about the value of our products, like what makes our products different, why they're so good for you, long-term, short-term for our health, the toxins, all this stuff that we know about. So I really spent time on that. And then when it came to the price, it's really easy for people to say, well, this is kind of expensive. But the truth is, you guys, a big part of the GDP in America is the Latino community. It's about almost 25% of the GDP comes from the Latinos. That's a huge part. That's almost 1/4 of the entire American economy comes from the Latino community. That's saying that they have a lot of buying power, right? And the majority of Latinas that I had conversations with were already using really pricey products, such as Clinique, Estee Lauder, and Lancome were like the top 3 that they were constantly using. And then there was Mary Kay, of course, for some people. So those products, when you look at the prices, the RA9 set was either way cheaper, like 80% cheaper, or on par, like about the same. So sometimes you just have conversations like, what are you currently using? Or what's your favorite eye cream? Because sometimes they don't buy the whole anti-aging set from the same counter. I've noticed that. They buy just different things wherever the promotions are going, they'll buy. But still, at the end of the day, they're spending way more. So first I'd show them the value, like why this is so different, why you need it, why it's good for your health, and overall your bank account too, because we know our products last longer, right? And then we talk about the price. I think you also have, sorry, it's morning. I think you also have to get creative, especially with these communities, because even though you can prove to them that the cost is pretty the same of what they're spending, it's still, it's still an expense. And for a woman in a Latino household, she's probably not going to spend on herself first. She might spend on her family first. So as a team, we had to get creative, and Puerto Rico is very good at this, at selling 30-day sets that are smaller, like 10-day sets or 15-day sets, something that was a little bit more economical. We always use the 150 threshold because it's smart, right, to do at least 150, especially for a new PC or what have you. But we had to get creative. So what does that look like? Maybe it's one protein bag, one 7-day cleanse, one fiber, and a digestion plus. All those 4 products are great for healing the gut, right, and helping people detoxify. So it's okay to get creative. Remember, it's your business. You can come up with different ways of selling smaller packages. Another thing that we do a lot on our team, and maybe my leaders don't recognize that we probably started this because we realize it works, is that if people do buy the 30-day or they're leaning towards it, we always throw in the shaker cup and the water bottle. Because remember I talked about loyalty? They love branding stuff. They love to know they're wearing or using something with a brand. They like to feel like they're loyal to something. And also it's that free gift component, right? They love the free gifts. Oh, you're throwing this in? Okay, awesome. Like, I love that. I'm going to get the whole set, or I'm going to get this. And then maybe you give them just the water bottle for the smaller sets. So that's how you can get them to become not just great customers, but loyal to your brand, is also by giving them that swag that they can wear and show off. Being that Latinas have the biggest power in households, over 80% in decision-making power in their household, then that tells you too, they're very good at recommending, right? So once you can get them to see the value and not be scared to talk about the cost openly and what they currently spend on, and show them how they can save money, and give them that Arbonne swag when they buy the 30 days, or maybe a smaller kit, give them a water bottle, something that they can use and show off, they will become amazing business partners for you. They too will become loyal, hardworking. They will stay the course. My both VPs, Maite Carballosa and Monica Laura, and then if you guys remember Silva Benalian, some of you, she used to be a VP. She's no longer with Arbonne. That was a personal decision, but all 3 of those ladies were with me since the beginning, and now they're all VPs. So loyalty is really big, and I can say that about my district managers, area managers, that the majority of them have been with me since the beginning. So it's kind of like a beautiful thing. Like, I really love working in the Latino community because of so many reasons. The camaraderie, the community, we have a lot of fun together. We love to do things where we're constantly recognizing. And I know a lot of this could probably be true for other communities. I get that. But I just specifically am talking about what has worked for our team. And we talked about this with Laura Bohanda the other day, because we had a meeting with leaders, with Latino leaders, and we were talking about how recognition is huge, you guys. Again, we're coming from a culture where women are expected to do A, B, and C every day, and they're not recognized for that effort. They're not recognized for taking care of their families, for staying up late, for doing everything in the household, for working and coming back and cooking and doing everything. And I'm not saying it's true for every household, but that is somewhat the culture, right? You don't need to get rewarded for that. So recognition goes a long way. Don't wait for the qualification and promotion to recognize someone. And this is true for everything, but for the Latino community, recognize them the moment they have their very first preferred client. Recognize them the moment they get their very first consultant, or they coach their first 30-day detox, or find any and every reason to recognize them openly, like in a forum, whether it's your Facebook page or at a meeting or whatever it is, because that goes a long way. And they thrive off of that. They flourish from that. They love that. And those are really important things to think about. The other component is, maybe little things you can do to get creative in your demos. When we were going to Puerto Rico a lot, or when I was first starting, and we had this concept of protein shakes. Like, we don't really do protein shakes, like that's that. We juice. I mean, Latinos are good about juicing. They can make their own juices. They're very herbal and botanical, and most of the remedies for colds and flus are in their backyard. But the protein shake was kind of like a weird concept for more of the first generation immigrants that were here, which are like my tias and my tios and some of my cousins and stuff. So what I would do, and I was taught this by Silva actually, and Tanet, and they're not Latinas, but they understood the Latino market and paid attention to things like this. But I would make an horchata protein shake. So I would make something that when they drank it, they were like, oh, this tastes like horchata. Or I would say, horchata tastes like this. So get creative. I mean, not all Latinos know what horchata is. I think it's very Mexican influenced, and Puerto Rico does know what that is. But find something and maybe make a shake with it. I know guanábana is very big among Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, Cubans. So find something that's kind of like a dessert or flavorful, and learn how to make a protein shake. So when you're in that audience, if that's your audience, whatever it is, they can feel more connected to what you're trying to share with them, and it makes it fun too. Because remember, a lot of people think this is a diet and they don't realize it's just tweaking the way they eat. Another suggestion, if you're not Latino and you're trying to figure out recipes for your detoxers to use during the 30 days, I have a young lady named Carmen Carlsgott. Some of you may know her. She's in qualification for RVP right now, and she has a blog, and it's an amazing blog. They're all Latin-inspired dishes that are detox-friendly, plus tons of desserts. I'm going to give you the address right now so you guys know it. And it's www.healthy con gusto. That's a Spanish word, con gusto. CONGUSTO, con gusto, blogspot, sorry, blogspot.com. healthycongusto.blogspot.com, and I'll send it to Vida after so she can share it with you guys. But she has tons of just, Latin-inspired dishes and so many things. Yeah, Vida, I don't know if you could type it in the chat. That would probably help people if they're asking. That's another place you can eat, tell them, hey, go here. I don't know exactly the dishes that you cook, but there's a lot on this blogspot. She's Peruvian, but she does a good job in touching Puerto Rican dishes and Mexican dishes and Colombian dishes and Argentinian dishes. Like, she kind of goes all over, and she's an amazing chef. So, you got to get creative. You have to know how to have them understand what you're sharing in a way that makes sense to them through their food. I think it's very big. In-home demos are a lot more fun too, because we love the camaraderie and the fiesta and the getting together. Now, there's different types of Latino groups. There's a bunch, but I'm going to just generalize like two. There's like the first generation working class immigrants that come to this country, like my mom and my aunts. And then there's like me, the second, third, fourth generations that may be educated, understand and dominate the American language. And we love to be Mexican American or Latin American, right? We have both influences. So those are the two groups. However, I'll give you a secret right now. Arbonne is doing really good percentage-wise in attracting this second group, okay, this second, third, fourth group, because we're Mexican American. We're grabbing a lot of the concepts easier. We're understanding veganism and gluten-free and all that. Where they're having a hard time tapping into is the working class first generation. And actually, that is, I don't really like this word, but that is the gold mine for sustainable business. That is what's going to really build your business and create a strong foundation, because it's these people that also have powerful connections in their home countries, Mexico, other parts of Latin America. And when we open in one future, which I know we will, Jean David is very committed to that, then we're going to need that strong connection to help us advance in these other countries. These are also people that are incredibly hardworking. They love entrepreneurship. They love doing different things. They don't have to just be doing one thing. They're very great at recommending and talking to people about what they're doing once they feel that they're truly, what's the word, passionate and loyal to the brand that they're talking about. They're going to be with you forever. So almost the same, very different. Of course, there's a bunch of other subgroups, but that's what's happening right now with Arbonne. So Arbonne is trying to really focus on this first group, first generation working class, because they need it. This is an American dream for them. You know, they work very hard to get where they want to get. And sometimes they're working 3 or 2 jobs, and this is just an additional income stream for them. Of course, this generation too are the ones suffering with diabetes and heart disease, and they need it for the health reasons too. So it's 2 subgroups, and we're doing very well with the second. That's kind of the majority of what we have in Arbonne, but we need to work on this group, which is basically the aunts and the moms and the cousins and the uncles and the dads of this group. That's basically what it comes out to. So if you have people from the second subgroup, encourage them to really look beyond, not just people that get the business, right? But really, how can we help this community that is, you know, dying of diabetes? My dad died at age 55 of diabetes, way too young. So we're all affected greatly by heart disease and diabetes and these illnesses that can be controlled with just proper nutrition and diet. And even though, you know, we're not selling a magic pill, we have a way for people to feel connected to their food still. You're not taking away everything, right? But you're showing them how to have a really healthy lifestyle by still letting them use their Latino culture to influence how they eat every day. So I wanted to share that a little bit. Oh, I wanted to share a little bit of facts, which I think are really interesting. Again, if you go to Forbes.com and you do search, there's a lot of articles. I mean, it's like the talk of the town right now because the Latino community is taking over the economy in a very huge way, and it's only going to get bigger, right? In the last decade, I don't know if you guys knew this, but 86% of all new businesses were Latino owners. 86%. You guys knew that? In the last decade. That tells you a lot of things. That tells you they're hungry, they're great at entrepreneurship, you know, they're hardworking, they want something tangible they can grab onto. So Arbonne is an excellent opportunity for them. And they're not necessarily closed off to network marketing, I feel, as our counterparts are, or other communities. They're pretty open to the concept. There's a couple things you want to clear up right away, though, when you're talking to these groups, and they're open about network marketing, but they're still a little iffy. A lot of the companies that they were probably a part of, and I won't mention them, but they're the big ones that Latinos are really part of right now, required really expensive buy-ins, like minimum $1,500. Like they had to buy at least $1,500 in product. Arbonne doesn't do that. Another thing is that a lot of these companies were a binary comp plan where they only paid you on one leg. Arbonne doesn't do that. They pay you on every single leg. You can be as wide and as deep as you want. Another concept that these companies had was that they had to have inventory in their home, right? And they had to sell out of their inventory. We don't do that either, right? Everything's fresh from the warehouse to the consumer. And the last thing is that the only way they would get paid or they would promote is if they had a certain amount of people recruited every month with a certain amount of buy-in, or these people were promoting to certain levels. So there was restrictions on how they can promote and move up and actually get paid. So it's important to understand some of these concepts out there, because when you see them on the border, lots of times they think it's going to work like the other companies they've been a part of, and it was hard. It was a struggle for them. There's a really good documentary out there. It's about a certain company, and I'll let you look at it. I saw it when I was in Puerto Rico this last time. It's called Betting on Zero. If anybody has seen it, watch it. It's one of the biggest Latino influencing network marketing companies out there. But if you watch that, I mean, there's a lot of good things about this company, but the way they went about it to attract the Latino market was probably the worst way. And this is why, if you're talking to people from this company, why there might be pushback. So watch this documentary. Again, it's called Betting on Zero. It's on Netflix. And I think it'll give you a good understanding as to, okay, this is why they feel this way. It's totally legit. Like I would feel like that too. So that you know what things you need to address when you're doing your demos. Like I always talk about that. No heavy, cost when you sign in. It's only $49. You only buy what you want. No inventory. You don't have to buy every 3 months or every month. You don't have to promote, and you don't have to recruit a certain amount of people in order to get paid. And you get paid weekly. So these are all things that they're just like, oh, wow, this is different. This is awesome. So understanding that documentary will really help you with the comp plan and how to explain it. And then, of course, all the other different concepts I talked about. Remember, connecting their food in your demonstrations somehow, gaining their trust and loyalty, personal space. You know, we love to hug and kiss. So if you put your hand out right away, you're going to be looked at some cold woman, you know, or a cold man. Like, they're going to be like, what's wrong with her? So you have to remember, it's like you're entering our world, right? It's America, but when you're entering a Latino home, you're entering our world. So you have to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable giving hugs and kisses, kind of have to learn to be comfortable, because if you don't, they're going to see you as a foreigner in their home, and then they're going to be uncomfortable, right? So it's about that trust, feeling good around you. And like every community, I say this also for the African American community, it's very similar to the Latino community to me. Just, you know, loving and warm and welcoming, and their food is the foundation sometimes to what's going on in their home. Very similar. And I think you'll find this across a lot of cultures, mainly because, and I think mostly with those immigrant cultures, because when they come here, they're trying to find community, sense of community when they come here. So they hold tight to their traditions, right, and their culture. So it's fun. I encourage you, tap in to this amazing community that's flourishing, that's growing, that is going to be the largest community in all the United States in the next few years. But also, I don't know if you guys knew this, that if the Latino community, I'm talking about all the Latinos from all over the world, if they were all put together, we'd be the 7th largest country in the world. Okay, that's just how huge and powerful this group can be, and definitely potentially help you a lot. As far as the Spanish and English, you don't necessarily have to do your events in Spanish unless you know for sure you're going to be speaking only to like a first generation working class, but majority are bilingual. So don't be scared to go back and forth. If maybe you're a little bilingual, they totally get that. You don't have to be perfect. I know when I started my business, my Spanish was horrible, you guys. People hear me now and they don't believe that, but it was horrible. But I was forced into that position because I had this mighty person that started in Puerto Rico, and they demanded that I did all the trainings in Spanish. And I was like, what? But that's how I learned. That's how I cleaned up. So, you know, practice. You don't have to know everything, but it just, you know, general concepts of just salutations and, you know, different things, or maybe different words in Spanish, like vegano, vegan, like things that they can understand at least, to make it easier for sure. When you find that one rock star, this is just strategic. This is how I would do it if I did not know Spanish. Once you find that rock star who is bilingual, help them grow your Latino leg. I think that's the smartest way to do it. I've had a lot of people approach me in Arbonne, NVPs, VPs, area managers who have a lot of Latinos direct to them, and no one speaks English. And in my thinking, I'm thinking, why not just put everybody under one leg of one person that you know is bilingual, that you can mentor and help flourish, and then they can have that community for you, and they can be the leader for that. So that's just strategic. Of course, we all do it differently, but that's what I would do if I didn't know how to speak Spanish. I would do it that way. So that's it. I think I'll open it for questions. I don't know if I did a good job.
Oh my gosh. There's so many. I was like writing copious notes. Incredible training. I thank you so much for pouring your heart out and just really taking this time so early in the morning, Pacific time, to get up to do this call. So I so appreciate you.
No worries.
You're amazing. You're amazing. So I do have a couple of questions before we open it up too. I kind of want to chat about the little elephant in the room. How do you deal with someone who really, really wants to build, and yet, you know, maybe they don't have the right social security number, or, you know, can you just talk about that a little bit?
You don't need a social security number to start an Arbonne business, but you do need a TIN, a tax identification number. Okay. Most working class immigrants will have a TIN if they don't have a social security. And if they don't have one and they're open to getting one, you just go to irs.gov and sign up for one. It's not that difficult of a process. So, you know, that's an option. I always have to, this is another question I get, I guess you could talk about probably another elephant is, can we sell to Mexico or can we sell to these countries where Arbonne isn't there? You can't, unfortunately, if you could figure out other ways to get it there, but right now we're not allowed to sell in those countries because we're not operating in those countries. So our, liability and everything doesn't go that far out.
Right.
But you know what? You don't need to. I always tell my team, you need to start with a foundation here. The Latinos are here. We're here. So start here and build that strong foundation. And then when those countries do open, you're better set. You have like a jump start to really building in these other countries. So just focus here. I would say just focus here and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And that's the way I feel about that too, is we have to build the leadership here so that we have that strong leadership to go to the different countries. And I think we're kind of poised that way.
We are. We're doing excellent. You guys, I'll give you like a little, just a little fact. When I, 2 years ago, no Latina VPs had promoted. This was like 2017. Not one, I don't think, maybe one. Okay, I could be ignorant in that. But last year we had like 13.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's just growing. Now we have, in my business, we have 2 more in qual. I'm sure we have several others elsewhere. We have the first Muslim national vice president, Rafi, which is so exciting. She's a good friend of mine. I just love that woman. So we are changing the face of Arbonne, and this is what Petter wanted. Petter was an immigrant too. He wanted a seat at the Arbonne table for every single culture and community and religious, whatever identity. Like he just wanted everything. So we're finally going that way, and it's very exciting. But just like when I started, no one had heard of Arbonne, and now I feel like more people know about Arbonne. It's going to get to a point where a lot of people are going to know about Arbonne. So you are in a perfect part right now to reach to all these multicultural communities because they still don't know about Arbonne. Maybe they heard it, but they still don't know.
Right.
So don't waste time.
Work with exactly. Yeah, we want to be able to serve people well and all demographics to serve them well. My next question, and I know other people have questions too, but just real quickly. So for the first generation immigrants that have spent their whole lives trading time for dollars, do you have certain verbiage that you use with them to have them understand that you don't have to work so hard for the money. You just have to have the money work for you, and teach them what that means, passive income versus the trading time.
I think they do understand. I never felt like I had to explain because, specifically Mexico. When you're getting immigrants and working class from Mexico, the majority of them understand selling stuff.
Yes.
Because, Mexico is, the people in Mexico are amazing at just selling stuff. Okay, let me give you an example. You see an immigrant here, you're rarely ever going to see a Latino immigrant or Mexican immigrant with a sign begging for food, but you will see them sell oranges. They will always sell something. Like they will work to sell something. They understand that concept that I'm going to give you something if you give me something. They're hard workers. So I never had to explain the time money. They just knew this was just another product, like something else that they could sell to something and they would get paid for that.
Right.
So it's not a hard concept for them to understand. They really get it because it's kind of like in them. It's already their DNA.
Yeah. I guess what I meant is the passive income part. How to explain that.
The passive income. I had a few conversations about that. I think you explain it the same way as in English. I think they do get it, but they're very interested in the right now money.
Yes. Okay.
For sure. But then you have conversations where you teach them later. I always teach them to make the right now money now because they need it. They need to see they can make it.
Yes.
Sell 8 detox sets, you're going to make about $500 because you're making $48 plus the $100 bonus plus the 6%. I teach them how to make $500 right away.
Right.
And then you train them. Now, if you teach someone else and they teach someone else, now you're making another percentage on top of that. So but always teach them the right now money first because they want to see that it works. And then slowly you can talk to them about the passive income, how that works.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that explains it clearly to me. Okay, I'm going to let you guys unmute yourself if you have any questions or comments or...
And I'm sorry if I'm really upfront, maybe I could be about the things I say.
No, I appreciate your candidness.
We just need to know the truth, how we work.
Absolutely.
Apologies.
And I love that Latino work ethic. It's the same as Filipinos. Okay, go ahead. Whoever wants to unmute, go ahead and share.
Hi, this is Marlene. I unmuted. Hi, thank you so much for opening your call this morning, first of all. I really appreciate that's the true heart of Arbonne.
Glad to have you.
I just thank you so much. I'm in Toronto, Canada, and I know Rima, by the way, and thank you, Esmeralda. That was amazing tips and training, and it's inspired me to go into the Latino market in Toronto because it's huge. And of course, I don't speak the language, so that'll be interesting. But I wanted to ask you if you could say the name of that blog again, with the food.
I think Vida typed it in the chat, but it's Healthy Con Gusto.
Did you write it in there?
Yeah,
it's right here.
ONGUSTO.blogspot.com.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Always looking for new recipes, for sure.
I have a question here. It says, is it culturally acceptable for a man to approach the wife in the Latino family as opposed to the husband? Oh, should we approach? Yeah, absolutely. Definitely approach, but the conversation, like the future conversation, needs to include the wife. So you can approach them and say, hey, this would be great. But then you want to encourage the wife to be included because, like anything, you don't want problems.
Exactly.
Like, why are you talking to my man? So yeah, but absolutely, you can approach. We have a lot of men in Arbonne. A lot of Latino men, but they always want to bring their partner in. Of course, bring them in, bring them into the conversation, bring them into the Zoom, all that.
I have a question. Thank you so much, Esmeralda. This is a great training, and I could resonate so much with just being in the Mexican American, like some of the things that you said about were like just the woman being the decision maker for purchases and stuff, but lots of other great things also that
thank you
brought me privy to, especially like in terms of the passive income, to focus more on the right now income. I could totally see that, and it's something that I was a little bit not sure about. But could you explain a little bit more about like how to put it out there in regards to making those $500 per month?
So if you guys were at GTC, I had like an epiphany at GTC, and we were kind of already doing this, but we weren't super focused. My VP, Monica, who's on the call, she's always been really focused on this. But it was, I forgot her and the MVP's name, but she talked about the document in the source that talks about the IC booster, the independent consultant booster, right? It's a one-page document, and it shows you how to earn $100 bonus, right, in that month. So basically what she talked about is that's all you really need when you have a brand new consultant. You should train off that document. And it's in Spanish too, by the way. If you don't know how to get to the Spanish resources on the source, go to the source, change the community to Spanish, and then everything will be in Spanish. Okay? And you could do actually easy, like you go find IC bonus booster document, find that first, and then change the language. And when you change the language, you'll now have that document in Spanish. Okay, so super easy. So when you download those documents, hand it to every brand new consultant you have and show them on there. Say, you get 8 detoxers this month. I'll help you talk to them. Think of 8, 10, 15 people you can help this month. You get 8 detoxers. They get the detox kit. You're making $48 per kit plus an extra $100 over here, and then your 6% override if you have consultants. Like, you just show them all the ways they can make money, and that's what's going to drive them. Okay, we don't want to give them the number. You need to do 6,000 this month in order to be a district manager, because they are like that's overwhelming for anyone. So this MVP was saying, don't even talk about those numbers. If she was to get 8 people and earn her 100 bonus, guess what? She's in qual for DM at 2,500 QV. That's a very strong way to be in DM, right? Not just with 1,000, but 2,500 is the best way. So take that document, put it on the table, show them what they need to do, and show them how much money they're going to make from that activity. That will drive them. Of course, you're going to help them with third-party validations and talking to people. what have you, but that's what's going to drive them. And then they're going to see, okay, I'm at 2,500 now. Okay, now look, Maite, I'm going to talk about my girl Maite. Now next month, your second month, you're going to do the same thing. You know, let's find 8 more. Maybe they're referrals from your current 8. You know, let's see who's ready to upgrade to a consultant now, and we can teach them how to make $500. Trust me, when you get that going, it's like fire, because when a lady tells her comadre or her friend, I just made $500 and I'm losing weight and I feel good. Now she wants to do it too. She's like, well, I want to do it too. Like, that's how it doesn't need a lot of convincing, because they're very interested in the right now money of a product that was actually giving them results and is working. Like, they're excited about both avenues. So just use that document, make it very simple. Don't talk too much about you need 6,000 to finish DM or you need 10,000 to go into qual for AM. Like, that's just like, it's overwhelming, you know? I mean, 6,000 is even a lot of money, period. So just talk about how they can make money right away. And I always use that document more than ever since GTC. And my MVP to be, my MVP to be, Monica, she uses it all the time. And that's the first thing they see. And it helps. It helps a lot. It makes people say, oh, that's it? I mean, she's had people that say, that's it? Yeah, that's it. We're like, what? Okay, I can do that. I know a lot of people who need to lose weight. It's a different way of talking to them that it just makes more sense. It's more tangible. It's not as scary as this big number that we put out there. That big number works for some people, but for our community, I don't think it does at all.
I love it.
It's practical.
What they need to do.
And it's a good amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question, Maria. Thank you. And great answers.
Buenos dias, Esmeralda. Gracias por ayudarnos. It was great.
Yay!
Yay, Mary.
I estoy in Mexico, so it's frustrating because we don't sell here yet. So it's like,
I
but
know.
I thank you. It sounds like you focus more on the nutrition with your Latino community, or both.
I do.
Is it even?
Well, we do healthy happy hours, and in our team, we talk about both lines, the RE9 and the nutrition. But they seem to kind of segue. It's them who's kind of segue towards the nutrition. But I do present on both because we are the Healthy Inside Out company, and I want to be duplicatable. And I want them to see that there is this anti-aging, because most of the time they'll do the 30 days or a version of it. And then they'll come back and be like, well, let me try, deja probar esas cremas. Like, let me try those creams that you were talking about, you know? So present on both. Let them tell you where their attention is going to be at. But I do present on both.
And then when you're talking healthy living, do you talk about diabetes and that it's the number one disease?
I don't say Arbonne cures diabetes. I share testimonies within my team. I talk about my dad and how his life was cut short because of wrong choices in his diet. And then I do share a lot about one of our consultants named Lori Romero. If any of you have ever heard her speak, she has an amazing testimony. She had diabetes 2, forms of lupus and fibromyalgia and arthritis. And in the course of a year, she lost, between her and her husband, I think 90 pounds over the course of a year. And within 60 days of starting her 30 days, she completely controlled her diabetes 2. She hasn't had it since. It's been more than a year. She hasn't had a flare-up of lupus. She hasn't had a flare-up of arthritis. Like, it's completely changed her life. So I'll share stories that I know are true from my team. If you have stories, share them. But yeah, you never want to say it cures, right? Because that's the other thing that I think has a lot of Latinos kind of like, ugh, because a lot of these other companies have said things like that. And also, it's also unethical. We all know that. But you just want to remind them, it's not that Arbonne cures, because we're not curing anything. We're just reminding you and showing you how just changing your diet can completely change your health. You know, it can change it. It can control it. It can elevate it. And because, you know, we're not showing them anything they don't already know. We're just making it a little easier for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Convenient.
Convenient. Yeah. I think I feel
great. Well, thank you so much.
You're
really
welcome.
Appreciate you.
You're
welcome.
Mary. Is there anybody else? Gosh, I think we can have you here all day. Anyone else want to share?
Okay, I have one more question.
Okay.
As I'm listing, things are popping up. So, Esmeralda, when you are approaching somebody new, are you leading with the business or the products?
Depends the circumstance. I'm a big believer of always leading with the business. but it depends. It's for me, it's very circumstantial. Like if I'm at a boutique and I have products out, then I'm probably leading with the products if that's what's bringing people to my table, right? Letting them. If I'm talking to someone, the second, third, fourth generation person, Latino like me, I'm probably leading with a business more than likely, because there's something going on that maybe I felt they had to learn about the business. With the working class, first generation, it could be both. It really depends. I know our business is the best product, but sometimes people need the product right away.
Yeah.
Depends.
And then what about, say, college students?
College students, I would do business for sure. And the reason why is because, they're broke.
Their loans, yeah.
Yeah, they want money. They want quick money. And they don't want to work for people. Like, it's just such a different mentality, but they're so open to this business because, remember, they're from a different generation. They don't even know what pyramid schemes are. They're just like, what?
No.
I remember to one of them, and they looked at me like, I should just shut up. I shouldn't say anything because they don't even know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because while I was at GTC, one of the young women who were the ushers working in the aisles, we kind of struck up a conversation and chatting, and she lives in Las Vegas, and she happens to be visiting here very close to where I live in Toronto with her sister, and she's in university and she works there to make money, to help pay. So we're trying to get together, and I thought, how do I approach this with her? But that's a great tip. Thank you.
You're probably going to have a hard time getting together with a millennial, but I bet you she'll jump on a Zoom.
Yeah.
So try to get them virtual. Like, you got to talk their language, it's like, and then it's also kind of weird. Like, if I was young, I'd be kind of like, why does this lady want to meet with me? I'm just telling you.
No, I know. But we talked at GTC, and I gave her samples, and she told me where she's coming for her sister. We friended on Facebook, like all those things. And she was very sweet.
Invite her to jump on with her sister on a Zoom.
Yeah, that's what thank you. Yeah, that's a better idea than trying to meet in the mall. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Just make it easy.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the question, Marlene.
Thank you.
Okay, we're kind of past our time here, but I just want to make sure everybody had a voice here before we sign off. One more.
Well,
okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this time.
Thank you, Esme. I appreciate you so much. And it's so obvious why you're just skyrocketing to the top, because you just have the biggest servant heart. So kudos to you. We'll continue to cheer you on and follow your journey. I'm sure everybody here is going to try to friend you on Facebook if they haven't already. But have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And let's do this for the Latino community. They need it. And
Absolutely.
we need them. And we need Arbonne to be able to take us into new territory and hopefully be stronger in our leadership with the Latino community. So thank you so much. Love you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for having us.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a good day.